TikTok made us do a lot of things, but it also gave us a lot of movie recommendations. One of these is the most recent Lifetime film, The Girl Who Escaped, which gets an 8 from us. It is gripping and emotional, and some actors delivered strong performances. Even so, there were a few crucial details that were overlooked and weakened the narrative. The film is based on real events that happened to Kara Robinson, specifically when she was kidnapped one day in broad daylight in her friend's yard. The plot revolved on Kara's strategy for escaping his kidnapper, who later turned out to be a serial killer as well. Katie Douglas, well known for portraying Abby in the Netflix series Ginny in Georgia, plays Kara Robinson. In the film Trust Me, The Abduction of Lisa McVeigh, Katie also played the lead role, another abduction movie. Thus, it would appear that Katie is a fan favorite for this genre of movie. But that is probably why she did such a great job as Kara. We'll touch more about Katie's performance later, but for now, let us just say that she's a great choice for the role. There aren't many characters in The Girl Who Escaped because the story focuses primarily on Kara's 18-hour kidnapping. This brings us to our next performer, Christian Brune, who is most known for his role in the popular science fiction and thriller Netflix series Orphan Black. He portrays Richard Evanitz, a killer who preys on young girls, in this film. His sadomasochistic traits make his overall personality even more unsettling. And while any serial murder would make you angry, the fact that young girls are the victims here causes a distinct type of fury and disgust in us. And we believe that Christian Brune did a respectable job of evoking those emotions in his portrayal. Following her comes Cara Buono, who is no stranger to us given that many of us recognize her as a well-known Karen Wheeler from Stranger Things. She takes on the character of Deborah, Kara's working single mother who does a respectable job of raising her daughter. There's not much challenge in portraying Deborah, and Kara did a pretty good job in expressing a mother's fear and care for a daughter she almost lost forever. But she wasn't exactly remarkable in her performance. We'll be able to explain even further why we think her acting wasn't that impressive, as it connects with the plot hole we noticed in this film. Kara did a decent job of conveying a mother's anxiety and concern for a daughter she almost lost forever. But there isn't much of a difficulty in playing Deborah, and yet she wasn't exactly remarkable in her performance. As this relates to the plot hole we pointed out in this movie, we'll be able to explain even more why we don't think her performance was all that spectacular. In that sense, let's discuss the movie's story. As we've already indicated, we believe that the plot was missing something crucial despite the compelling plot and strong performance by the main character. When Kara finally got away from Richard in the movie, she had trouble telling her mother what had happened. Deborah believes that Kara's life should change to adjust for such a horrible experience she experienced. Deborah simply wanted safety for her child. She didn't want Kara to go out as much as she did before, especially at this point in the movie when Richard was still at large. But Kara wanted to live her life exactly as she had before, without letting the kidnapping control how she did it. Kara thinks Richard has already taken something significant from her, and she won't let her experience with him ruin her chances of returning to a normal life. Deborah also found it difficult to connect with Kara as her daughter struggled to talk about the traumatic events she had. They were eventually able to address the situation better, but we believe that they did it in a rather unimpressive manner. The movie wasted a chance to present a touching resolution between the two because of how it portrayed their attempts to understand one another in the context of the circumstance. Nonetheless, this movie was able to have a very dynamic and exciting plot since it naturally parallels real-life occurrences. Are you a fan of Lifetime movies like this? What are your thoughts on the movie's interpretation of Kara Robinson's life story? Share your comments below. Let's talk more specifically on the actor's performance now that we've talked about the plot. As previously mentioned, Katie's experience in this type of role helped her deliver a more compelling portrayal in the movie, since you could actually feel the courage and horror inside her. We experienced the same level of horror as she did. We had the impression that we were there planning the escape whenever she overcame her fear. We believe that because the movie gave us a glimpse into some of Kara's thoughts, particularly her famous remark, "Wait, escape, survive," which revealed how she was planning her escape, we were able to feel her feelings more closely as she endured the worst 18 hours of her life. The way she expressed herself with her face and even the tone of her voice perfectly conveyed Kara's feelings of fear and anxiety. Furthermore, we want to emphasize how well she portrayed Kara's courage in the film, since you could well determine when she was paralyzed by fear and when she exhibited grace and strength. Overall, She did an excellent job of portraying Kara as more of a survivor than a victim, which is really the main theme of the movie and Kara's narrative. As for Christian, he didn't quite nail the creepy murder persona, despite the fact that he did, as we've said, manage to enrage and disgust us with his performance. He was obviously scary, given that he usually carried a gun in the film, but we think he might have been even scarier. If he had been so, he could have done a better job of making the audience anxious about whether Kara will survive. Instead, we believe that Christian's portrayal of Richard was a little too laid back, and we're not sure if it was the director's intention or something Christian simply lacked. A few weak acting choices were made in the film, including Eric Othavale's portrayal of Lieutenant Aaron Rowland and Paul Essiembre's portrayal of Kara's father, Ron Robinson. Nonetheless, Katie's strong performance made up for the ineffectiveness of the other actors because most of the film is focused on her. There was something particularly fascinating about the film's cinematography. As was previously said, the movie sought to depict Kara's thoughts at various moments in the story, and they did this successfully by altering the scene's hue each time we saw Kara's thoughts. The action seemed to happen more quickly than usual, changing the color to a grayscale that accurately reflected Kara's mental image. Nevertheless, the film did not use the same location as where Kara was abducted. Instead, it was filmed in several areas across Canada when the incident actually occurred in the United States. The settings were still accurate to Kara's experiences, so this wasn't a problem. So what do you think so far? If you've seen it, do you think The Girl Who Escaped stands out among other Lifetime abduction movies? Comment below and let us know. Before we say goodbye, be sure to hit the notification bell and subscribe to our channel. As for us, we consider this movie a must-watch and deserving of an 8. If you enjoy thrillers and perhaps are curious about knowing how to escape possible life dangers such as abduction, then you must certainly watch this movie.